Let's review the 2019 Monster Energy Cup. Welcome to Foge Moto. The Monster Energy Cup was a welcome surprise. The track was run backwards as well as my expectations. Let's start with the amateurs. The amateur racing was dominated by Jet Lawrence and Evan Ferry. In race 1, Ferry pulls the whole shot from the outside and doubles in and checks out. In race 2, he blasts past Stevens and Towers through the sand section and proceeds to win as well. I don't believe Ferry was the fastest kid there that night, but he was the kid who executed his plan flawlessly. Out of all the kids who raced that evening, Ferry had all of his ducks in a row. And you could really see it, he just didn't have any problems at all. The closest thing he had to a problem was Hymus, who started closing in on him at the end of race 2, but it was too late by then. Ferry had already executed everything exactly how he should have. He had really already won the race. He just had to wait for the laps to wind down and roll it across that line. So well done to him. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Ferry's fastest laps were the first laps in each race. After that, he was just putting it in cruise control. In the first race, he was so far ahead before they even reached the finish line that he was out of the camera shot, and they'd gone around maybe a fourth of the track. He just had his first lap speed nailed down. He was already at full race speed by the time he went around the track. Everybody else had to get into their race speed, and it took him a couple laps before they started even wheeling him in. And by then, he's gone. Gone with the wind. Good job, Ferry. On another note with Ferry, I really dig seeing the next generation come up and having a lot of the ex-pro riders' kids at the races. I used to watch Tim Ferry all the time when I was growing up, back when he was on Factory Yamaha, and he later retired on Factory Kawasaki. Evan doesn't have the same riding style as his dad, but I think that's due to he's a lot thinner than his dad was. His dad was always a very husky guy whenever I had seen him. And I also wouldn't be surprised if Tim's idea was at work here for the race strategy for his son Evan. Jet Lawrence, on the other hand, had a very different approach to how he is going to win his races. He was more confident and methodical. He was so smooth at times, he would just cruise right past his competition. He really reminded me of a young Kevin Windham, back when he was on a YZ125. Even when he put the block pass on Swole at the end of the second race, he didn't look frantic or out of control or in too much of a hurry. He just smoothly passed right past him, scrubbed the single, and then tripled right out of the rhythm section, pulling a massive lead. Jet also looks like Kevin Windham just from how he just floats over everything. He never seems to be over-animated on the bike. The bike during the race, I think he only made maybe a mistake or two during the entire race that were very minor. He's always in the right position of where he needs to be on the bike, and he almost looks like he's just kind of standing up taking a sight lap while he's hauling ass. It's truly amazing to watch. I also really enjoyed Jet Lawrence's podium performances when he is flicking his brother a little bit of crap. I mean, Jet Lawrence was cocky enough that he was up on the podium giving his brother crap and eating a donut. Oh man, I think I'm gonna really love this kid. But both Jet Lawrence and Evan Ferry both went 1-1 and absolutely dominated the amateur racing. They made it almost a snooze fest, so good job to them. Well played. This is where my expectations were caught a little bit off guard, because I was thinking most of the fun back and forth racing was going to happen in the amateurs, much like how it kind of happened last year. But this year it was different. Total snooze fest with those guys just whooping everybody's butt, followed by the pros having some very good racing. Race 1 for the pros starts with AC getting the whole shot. Looks like he might have pulled away with the whole thing. However, on the second lap, he pushed the front wheel a little bit underneath the tunnel and went down, thus handing Vince Freezy, of all people, the lead for the race. Eli and Mookie would both go on to pass Vince Friese, and Adam would battle his way back up all the way to second. So Adam was showing some speed in that one to come all the way back even after his little crash. You could see Mookie was shaking off some of the rust on the first race. I think he was just so excited every time he got on the gas, he'd just snap that baby wide open and the bike would get a little upset underneath of him. And then he was flying into the turn so hard, he wasn't having time to brake and having to lock it up and kind of slide in there to make it around the turn. Don't get me wrong, it was still wicked fast, but you could tell he was just a little excited. Eli Tomac eventually gets around Vince Friese, and the finishing order for race 1 winds up being Tomac in first. Adam Cincerillo actually sneaks back past Mookie and Vince Friese to get second, which I couldn't believe. And Mookie got third, which was still a really good run for him after not racing for 9 months. Race 2 is where the plot really thickens. They're racing the track in reverse, and none of the top 3 guys from the first race get a good jump. Nor do they get a good start at all. Vince Friese comes out with the lead smelling like a bunch of roses. And bonus note, Justin Barcia goes way out of his way to park blows all the way up at the top of the bales of the corner. I'm not really sure what his genius plan was by doing that. I mean, if his plan was to single-handedly piss Blos off and allow Eli Tomac to just shoot right past them both, then I'd say mission accomplished. Eli Tomac starts getting up through the field pretty fast, especially thanks to the help from Barcia there. Adam Cincerillo and Mookie are both pretty far back there. So this is starting to look like, yep, just another Eli Tomac runaway coming up. He's already up into second, and all he's got to do is get past Friese, who's already starting to slip around and make some mistakes. And then Tomac has a little bit of a crash, upsetting the entire balance of the race. You can see coming off of the single that when he lands at a little bit of an angle, just enough that when he lands into the blue groove just a little bit and he's on full power, the rear wheel lights up. This actually makes deceleration happen because he's not going forward, and he winds up putting all of his weight onto the front wheel when he decelerates. He starts sliding out, and then finally the forks rebound and buck him right off of the bike. And that was the end of the $1 million story for Tomac right there. A very inconvenient little mistake. This allows half of the pack to go right past him, including his teammate, and puts Malcolm Stewart into second place right behind his teammate Friese. Malcolm Stewart gets past his teammate and he's off. It is now his race to lose. Not to mention Adam Cincerillo is coming up hot on his teammate as well. Malcolm would go on to win this race. Adam Cincerillo would get second, showing an astonishing amount of consistency for a rookie in the 450 class. I mean, he's going to be a threat coming into 2020 big time. And Eli Tomac has a really good run and gets all the way back up to third before the end of the second race. This created a 3-way tie for the overall. Whoever came out winning in race 3 would get all the glory. So here we go, race 3 with the big hitters. Adam Cincerillo rips away with the whole shot at the beginning of race 3 with his teammate Eli Tomac just behind him in third. Mookie got a bit buried in the pack there. Mookie gets pushed out wide and is in about 8th to 10th place, somewhere back there in the pack, so right in the middle of everybody, not where he wants to be. There is a super sketchy, butthole puckering moment where Adam Cincerillo doesn't cross the finish line on the very first lap. And, yeah, that could have been real bad. Eli makes quick work of Geyser, and now the battle is on. Teammate versus teammate, rookie versus the old man. Stewart makes his way quickly up into third, but it's too late. Cincerillo and Tomac have both already broken away. At about the halfway mark, Eli really starts putting the pressure on his teammate, trying to get the pass done. Eli's first pass attempt, he tries to triple into the Dragon's back. He just winds up being a little long on the way out, and it really stops his momentum from being able to pull off the pass. Adam holds the lead. He then tries to block pass him. They're about 3/4 of the way through the race, and Adam has an absolutely beautiful defense against Tomac. I mean, it is textbook. Eli Tomac goes in for the block pass. Right about here, Adam Cianciarulo already knows what's coming. He lightly goes to the outside of the corner and kind of dilly-dallies around out there for a second. Really calm, actually. And then he squares back up underneath of his teammate as soon as he recognizes that he's overshot him and heads straight for the triple. It was truly beautiful, especially for a guy who's a rookie to the class, putting the moves on his teammate like that. This whole time, they're just pulling away from Mookie at a crazy amount of speed. I think Mookie's having a real hard time with Geyser back there in 4th place, and he's working every angle he can to try to get past him, but it's just not happening, and it's allowing these two guys to just run away. Tomac's not done yet, though. He's got another trick up his sleeve. He knows he can wheel in Adam, so he's going to try to do the Joker lane. He winds up not executing the first turn very well. He kind of slides out. It almost seems like he hesitated, and at the last second he decided, yeah, I might as well go for it. He blasts through the sand and gets back onto the track. Now right now what he's trying to do is rip off one blazing fast lap, and hopefully he'll pass him when Adam goes through the Joker lane. Cianciarulo on his way into the Joker lane does not make that hasty decision. He knows exactly when he's going to go in, and so he takes the turn exactly how he should, saving maximum amount of time going around the Joker lane. And I think that made all the difference right there. If Tomac hadn't slid out a little bit on his way in, he probably would have been neck and neck and might have been able to just barely pass him. I mean, you can see that they're maybe a bike length and a half, 2 bike lengths away. If he would have nailed that corner, he would have got past Adam right there. But to the victor goes the spoils. Adam will wind up holding him off all the way to the finish line and becoming the 2019 Monster Energy Cup winner overall as a rookie. This was a really impressive ride from Adam Cianciarulo. This is really going to show how much of a threat he's going to be coming into 2020. He took this whole race with a lot of poise. Besides the first race's little tip over in the corner where he locked up the front brake, he came back through every single race and then held off Tomac for the entire race. That shows an unbelievable amount of maturity and readiness to be in this class. Not to mention just flat out consistency to get the job done and keep getting back up into 2nd place all the time. So I'd say Adam Cianciarulo had the best night out of all 3 of these guys. But not far behind him, I'd say, would be Mookie. Mookie, we really need to change his name to the Predator. He's got those dreadlocks, and with the motocross helmet on, he just looks like the Predator a little bit to me on a dirt bike. I don't know why, I just can't help it every time I see him flying through, and I think it's a cooler nickname in a lot of ways. One of the greatest thing that I think some people are going to overlook about this race for the Predator is that Stewart was really riding at a handicap. Why was he riding at a handicap, you might ask? Because Stewart's best obstacle is the whoops. That is where he's probably faster than just about everybody, minus maybe Tomac. That's his strong point, is the whoops. Imagine how good the Predator would have been if he had some whoops out there. He's going to be a super threat coming into the 2020 season. I will not be surprised if both of them win a couple races after seeing what they did tonight. Tomac, this wasn't really a bad race, although it wasn't really what he was hoping for. I mean, yeah, his rookie teammate did beat him, but he got out of it uninjured. He still got a race win in there. He still showed that he was the fastest guy there that night, really. So for me, Tomac's race was kind of like it was a little bit of a sour tasting meh. But I think that really plays to Tomac's favor going into 2020. I think he could use a little bit of that to give him a little fire in this off season while he's training. I'm going to do some videos in the future of the 450 riders who weren't here and the ones who were here. At any rate, the ending to the 2019 Monster Energy Cup was fantastic. I'm Foge and this is Foge Moto. Let me know what you guys thought and I'll see you guys next time. Later.